are you ready, Miss Kelly?
Yes, sir.
That buzz is pretty loud today.
Yeah, it is.
It was loud on Wednesday last week.
Alright. So, the meeting will come to order. For public information, a copy of Nebraska Open Meetings Act is posted in the back of this meeting room on the east wall. We'll have roll call.
Harris,
Here.
Knapper,
Here.
Meyer,
Here.
Reisig,
Here.
Blue,
Here.
Alright, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we are in the work session here at 3:30, and then Kelly, will we adjourn?
I was
From
hoping
this-
for one, yeah.
Yeah, we'll adjourn from this meeting before we go to the 4:30
To start
meeting.
it,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, very good. So, the agenda for this meeting, the work session, is simply to review commissioner appointments and committees. That's the only item on the, agenda, other than possible general discussion at the end.
And then in your packets, I put what we did last year,
Right.
and then somewhere probably within your envelope is a blank one for now,
Okay,
this time around.
okay.
And I'd be happy to help you guys find it.
I didn't find the blank one.
Yeah.
I didn't see it
Might
either,
be in
Kelly. I don't know if there's one in there or not.
But I found this one when I got here.
Yeah.
I don't see one in
Well,
I didn't see one when I went through the packet.
we can write over this one for now.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get by with that.
Okay,
I guess I know what my intent.
so we need a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
There a second?
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Are
I've
you,
got it ready if you want.
you're ready for us to vote electronically? So, let's go ahead and vote.
It has been approved.
All right, motion's carried. Agenda's approved. So, first item is to review the commissioner appointments and committees. So we normally go through this, the front page, the longer page first. And, the first item is the chairman of the board. Any, thoughts on that?
I moved it,
Well, we're not taking action on stuff, we're just discussing.
Yeah, it's not a motion, but it's, we kinda come to a consensus today is all. But go ahead with whatever you're.
well, I think you should continue as chairman.
I know, Russ had talked to me about that, a week or so ago. And, I guess I'm okay with that, if that's the consensus basically of the board. But I want it to be the consensus of the board, if that's where we're at.
I'd like to see you proceed for a while, see how we do.
I would support.
Are you okay with it?
Yep.
Ken, are you okay? Okay. Well, I would be willing to do that. And then, we need to talk about the vice chair at the same time. I know, Charlie, you're the vice chair now. Are you willing to continue that?
Yeah, kinda the same thoughts as Mark. Like to have support of the board to do that.
Charlie continuing as vice.
I'm okay with that as well, be supportive. Russ and Ken? Okay,
Yes.
alright, well, it looks like we have a consensus for Charlie to be the vice. And then I'm hoping that maybe we can go through the rest of these fairly quickly. Aging office, Ken, it looks like you've been, yeah, are you okay with that one?
Yeah, I can save you a lot of time, at least
Yeah,
on mine.
okay,
Is that I'm okay with all of the committees that I'm on, except for that, the one I brought you up on
the cap
the
one,
cap one.
Yeah.
And I'd be willing to take somebody else's in exchange if you think it's too much for somebody, but,
sure,
I'm going to decline on the community action partnership one. But all the rest of mine I'm fine with, just as they stated.
alright, so if anyone has any thought of, anything different of what Ken has, so let's go through that. So he's, on the aging office of Western Nebraska, he's okay with that. The community action is the question mark. Panhandle one, or Region One, Panhandle Health, you're okay with that, Ken?
No, we actually changed that.
To the Region One Office of Human Development, or?
Oh, no, yeah, yes, I'm good with that, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong one.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm fine keeping all of mine that I have right now,
alright, so you
Except-
guys are
except for
seeing
the
them
one.
there.
so you need somebody to do that.
Which one did you wanna remove off?
Whoever.
Which one are you trying to get off of?
Kaplan.
Kaplan is the one that
Okay.
I'm not gonna be able to do, and as I said, I would take another one on here if somebody wants to step back and fill it in or whatever your pleasure.
Charlie, didn't you talk about taking Kaplan?
Yeah, I actually just called over there, and I talked to Betsy last week, and then I talked to Dean Pierce, just on my way over here. And both said, my recent employment there is, the period is too soon. They've got a policy about ex-employees being board members until a waiting period. So-
You're an ex-official, you're not gonna vote on it, right?
No, it's a voting member.
Is it a voting?
Yeah, yeah.
And, I had considered it that one time, but had the same story as the housing authority, which is that we do business with them. And they, felt that it was inappropriate for me to be a board member, so really that swings down to you two
Right, okay,
guys.
when do they meet?
Tuesday evenings,
Which Tuesday?
Second Tuesday of the month. Or the first, sometimes it's the first.
Yeah, that I have conflict with that. So that would work.
Okay, well, Russ, then the question's gonna be for you then,
So now, when does that meet, kid?
Tuesday evening.
Tuesday, I think it's the first Tuesday of the month.
First Tuesday of the month, 'cause I know I got Wednesdays and Thursdays tied up with,
Yeah.
Is it the second Tuesday? Isn't it the second Tuesday?
They usually, there's times that we're in conflict with our meeting here because we have a holiday and they don't observe that. So we meet on Tuesday night, the same night that they meet, which would be the next day after the Monday holiday. So I'm thinking it's the first Tuesday of the month.
It's either the first or second then, Russ, is what you're looking at.
I guess it only leaves me.
Well, can we try that?
Yeah, we can try.
Alright, let's change that then. Community action would be, Isaac,
And then Russ, if there's something you wanna pass on, I'd be more than happy to take
Well,
that.
you probably wanna school me up a little bit, what I look like, I don't know.
Oh, I've been on it for quite some time, and
know.
I'm just starting to get a handle on what goes on over there.
Well, then that'll be
Trust-
fine, if you
trust
could,
me.
Just in
if you could
time.
bring me to that point.
I'd be more than happy to, but I could give you a whole handful of charts and graphs, cause that's normally what we have, and a lot of reports in very, very small letters. Everybody, what I think they're doing is they just justify all their positions and what they're doing, and they receive a ton of money, both federal and state. But they do some good things, but
Okay,
it's a big, it's a mini hospital, it's a mini medical center.
emergency, they have kind of emergency times.
I don't know if they have,
Don't they do
think so.
emergency times?
No.
No, but they do medical stuff.
They do all the
This
medical,
dental
dental, psychiatry, whatever you want, they have it all.
But not emergency.
Not emergency, okay.
Jeff Metz is, one of the members out of Bridgeport.
Jeff is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just gonna do what Ken said, I'm gonna lock mine up right there, so you guys don't give me one more thing to do.
Yeah. Well, let's finish, Ken's list here, and then
Okay.
we'll go to your list next.
Okay.
So, Ken, on the tourism, you're the alternate,
Yeah.
and the safety committee, you're the alternate. The regional governance, I should probably be on that one. And Charlie, the alternate. Twin Cities Development, you're the alternate, Ken. Information System Committee, alternate. Corrections Department, you're the primary. And Panhandle Public Health, you're the alternate. So you're still okay with all those then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the development disability, something, I'm on that one also.
Yeah. No, I don't have you on that.
Which one?
Yeah, so there's Region One Panhandle Health Group Governing Board, and there's also Region One Office of Human Development. Ken is on
On both.
Both of those, but the Panhandle Development Disabilities, I have Charlie on that one.
Oh, that one.
This is an old list, that's why.
Right.
There's.
Is that the one they combined with another one?
We have never, Panhandle Developmental Disability Services Inc. has never met.
So you think you're on that one, Ken? As far as you know?
It's in the middle of the page.
Right, it's about a third the way down.
Oh, wait a minute.
He's the alternate on Panhandle Public Health District.
Right, and then the
No.
Panhandle Development Disabilities,
Right.
I thought that was, well, they may have another name here. That's one over by City Hall.
Yeah, that's the one right above that.
Well, no, that's Region One, that means.
They're
Oh,
both
yeah,
called
yeah,
Region One.
okay, that's fine.
So, should we leave Charlie on that, or?
I don't think it exists, to be honest. And probably the question, the people to ask if it still exists or not would probably be your Region One Office of Human Development, to see if Panhandle Developmental Disability Services exists. I'm pretty sure that has been absorbed by Region.
Those three are kinda all connected a little bit, is that what we're saying?
No, so Region One Panhandle Health Group is completely separate from Region One Office of Human Development. But I believe Panhandle Developmental Disabilities was absorbed by Region One Office of Human Development.
So it is gone.
So at the very least then, if we assume that might be true, Ken, are you willing to be the development disabilities? You said that you thought you were on it.
Yeah, I had it confused with them, but no, I'm more than happy to be on it,
Well-
if it actually exists.
Okay, let's put him on there, then he's in all three of those, and it may be that it's only two anyway. Okay, so that covers Ken's. Let's go down Mr. Razik's.
Okay, first, is still alternate for Airport Authority? For
Oh,
Ken?
Yeah, we
Yes.
didn't talk about that.
I am.
Alternate for that. Okay. Okay, I think I got the rest circled now.
What did we say about Panhandle Public Health? Is that gone?
He's the alternate. I'm the primary, I think, on that one. Cause I've been attending anyway.
Okay,
Where's it,
clear the,
Almost down
near
at
the bottom.
Second
Oh.
from the bottom.
yeah, I'm the primary and he's the alternate. Alright, let's go down Russ's, Russ, you're the primary on the airport. And the Gearing Valley Flood Control, primary. Alternate,
got Pat, Charlie, is that you? Charlie.
I do.
Scotts Bluff Drain, alternate, we never meet hardly.
Yeah, we do. We met with them once a year generally, or Scott, no, I'm thinking of Gearing Drain, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scotts Bluff I have all.
Weed control, you're the primary.
We don't have a backup on that one. I don't see
And
an
now
alternate.
that it's, yeah, I don't know if we have to have alternates in all of them, some of them we,
Well, we don't really have meetings, I mean, I just kinda oversee Steve's running both of those.
I guess if you
I
need
think they're
someone
both
to
going pretty well right now.
fill in for you, you can let us know. Personnel board, sorry, I'm so sorry, we need to keep going down. Russ's
I'm on
mapping.
mapping is needed,
Yeah, and that'll start to be a little different probably now,
yeah.
but I guess we can leave you on that for now.
Sure.
But that's probably gonna not be there for after a while.
Just like-
Sears House,
Yep, I do that monthly every second Wednesday.
okay. Then you're the alternate for the corrections department
Okay.
and for Region 22 Emergency Management,
Okay.
alternate. And the alternate for the Heartland Expressway,
Good enough.
okay? You okay with those?
You bet.
And then did we put you down, yeah, for community action?
You put me at community.
Yeah. Okay. Mike, do we wanna cover yours?
Sure,
So communications board,
yeah, I'm willing to stay on everything I have.
yeah, that's good. Everything you have? Alright, so merit commission, anybody has any concerns here, I guess speak up, but he's willing to continue. He's the alternate on county personnel board, alternate on Sarah Title III. Housing authority, he's the primary. Mapping is alternate. Safety committee, he's the primary. Sarah's House, alternate. Scotts Bluff and Morrill County Extension Board, he's the primary. And Region 22, Emergency Management, primary. Charlie, can we go down yours?
Yep.
Aging office, you're an alternate. You're still okay?
Yes.
Pad, primary.
Yes.
Alternate on Region 1, both of the Region 1 things,
Yes.
okay? You're the primary on the tourism,
Yes.
primary on Sarah Title III,
Yes.
Housing Authority, the alternate,
Yes.
Regional Governance, we said alternate,
Yes.
TCD, Twin Cities Development, primary,
Just a minute,
okay.
you said regional governance, you're on that.
I'm the primary, he's the alternate.
Meyer, okay, I got hold of this Kim's on that.
Normally
We
it's
just
the
changed it
chairman
today.
and the vice chair.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay, alright. I didn't catch that on the first pass through.
Information Systems, you're the primary.
Yes.
Okay. And then, we can go down mine, but I'm okay as well. I think Building Utilization Committee, primary, Communications Board, the alternate. Scotts Bluff Drain, the primary, Merit Commission, alternate. County Personnel, the primary. County Extension, the alternate. Regional Governance, primary, and then Pano Public Health, primary, and Heartland Expressway, the primary. Are we, is everybody okay with those as far as we know?
Looks good.
Okay. Again, we can't take official action on these until, what meeting was that Phil said?
The second meeting in January is when we're gonna reorganize, but just because of swearing in dates for re-elected commissioners,
Right.
so January 21st is the reorganization
sure of that, so normally it'd be the 20th, but that's Martin Luther King Day. And so our, January 21st is our second meeting of the month.
Correct.
And this item will be on the agenda at that time, okay? We need to flip the page over and look at our, what do we call this? Someone said the supervisory position, and someone said, no, that's not right, it should be liaison,
It
But-
is liaison,
whatever we wanna call that.
commissioner, there's a column that says commissioner liaison right there.
Okay,
And then who, beside that is who you're appointing, is that official? Your appointed official?
yeah. Yeah, so they're appointed officials, obviously, and not elected officials. And so, we can just go down the list here if we want, so, facilities is, I'm on that one with Jay's in charge of that. The safety committee, Jay's in charge of it, Mike, you're on the safety committee. Communication coordinator, that's, Tyler, and Ken, are you on that?
Yeah, I'll keep that one.
You'll be alright with that? Veterans, Matt Myers, Mike, you've done that, yeah. Director of Public Works, Steve, Russ, I'm assuming you're good with that?
Can I, Public Works, and then I need to change, just find a place to add weed in there?
I'll just drop down and put Steve Baird in weed control too.
Okay, are we okay with that, if I keep it like that?
Yeah, that's alright.
Okay, thank you.
So, and then building and zoning, Bill Mabin, that's been me, and I'm okay with that. Weed control, Steve Baird, that's Russ. GIS mapping, and again, we see that changing,
Yeah, so
but.
just leave it in there for the
We'll
moment.
leave that for now, and then that'll probably be absorbed otherwise.
Can I just leave the official area blank and rest is the?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think that's a good idea. General Assistance Administrator, Lisa is the person, and Charlie, you've been
Yeah,
liaison on that.
and I guess that
That might
change to where we list that as that outside agency, but Lisa would
Maybe.
still be the one.
still have
their
a,
contact
Yeah.
person?
yeah,
contact
she
person.
still have a little role to play
Yeah,
there,
so we probably stay.
hopefully less, but, yeah.
General Assistance Administrative Coordinator?
Beautiful.
Is it okay?
Or just coordinate.
Just coordinator?
Sounds good. Right to the
Okay.
point.
The next one's Personnel Director, which is Lisa. Ken, you've been doing that?
Stay with that.
Okay. Management Accountant is Lisa. Ken?
Yeah, I'm good.
Detention Center, Overman, you've been doing that. Information Systems, which is Bytes, Charlie, you've been doing
Yep.
that one.
Yep,
Tourism, Charlie.
yes.
Transit, Russ,
It's fine.
and, Region 22, Emergency Management, Mike.
Right.
Alright, everybody okay with that? So, it seems to me that this, again, is not official tonight, won't be official until we take action on the 21st of January, but at least we've kinda declared the roles, and assuming that, if we use these, that we'll be ready to take action on the 21st, okay? Alright, so I think that takes care of that agenda item, unless someone has anything else on that?
So I just had some thoughts, you know, the city of Gearing and the city of Scotts Bluff. And I believe the county in the past has made very deliberate motions and actions and taken votes replace the appointed official in their job at the reorganizational meeting. And over the past, I think really since we've been here, Mark, I don't know that we've done that. It's almost like they're kind of brushed over. But I think that each department head needs to be, a motion and a second and placed into the role.
Oh, go through line item.
Yeah.
Instead of the group as a whole, Charlie, is what you're saying, cause we've done it, but just not individual.
And,
See, I think when we've done it in the past, I don't know, Kelly, if you're set up to look at this real quick, but to be honest, I just remember appointing the commissioners as the liaisons. I don't remember.
No, we appoint the official, we appoint the liaison, and then we appoint, we got three things, the committees that you're gonna serve on.
so you're saying that we take
One
action
column,
on who
that
the
is-
official is?
But it's lumped together as those
One motion.
individuals are appointed to these positions, and the
As
list
one
is
motion.
as one. Then you appoint your liaison to them.
And you wanna see it separate.
As one motion. And you'd like to see it possibly
One
as
motion for each line item.
To make it more official, or to,
Can we just read
Make
the
it
line
more-
items and then make one motion and deal, or is that not gonna be the way you wanna have it?
Yeah, I guess that's
That way they're going on record, we read them across, read them all the way top to bottom, left to right.
You're doing two things. The first one, you're actually reappointing your appointed officials to those positions.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
If there's somebody that you're having a problem with, and you don't want them in that position anymore, then you can vote no. You don't want them in that position. It normally doesn't happen, but that's the reason for the appointed officials. The second act is to put the commissioner in charge of those particular individuals. And that could also be done in one motion too,
Okay, so,
unless somebody has an issue with it.
then we need to go back down here to GIS mapping, and actually Kyle is no longer here, we've gotta put a name in that spot even for temporarily,
I
we
think
should.
we
Well-
just delete her name.
I was gonna leave it blank because
leave it blank.
you've
Right.
assigned it to the assessor's office and it's elected anyway.
Okay, that's fine.
So
She was
you
just
would-
gonna leave it
We
blank.
as commissioners, where we have no say-so anymore over the mapping department.
That's pretty much it. It's certainly headed that, phased into that direction if it's not already there. I guess, yeah, okay, so, let me go back and ask a question. I've never considered us, so when we have taken action on that official column, I guess I've just believed that to be that we recognize that person is in that position right now.
Who are you
But
speaking
that,
on, Mark?
I'm talking about this list of officials,
Okay,
There's your
appointed
agenda.
officials.
well,
That, to me, all we're doing is acknowledging that that list of people is there, but that,
Well-
to me, that certainly doesn't mean that they're appointed for a full year and nothing can change.
that's right.
That can change any time as far as I'm concerned, but maybe I'm wrong with that.
No, you're right. I think on this GIS mapping, I think you need to put Robert Simpson in there, the same as you have the sheriff in there. Sheriff's an elected official, you oversee it, no different.
Well-
Until we absolutely don't have any mapping, until it's totally assessor. I
The
think that
detention
should be
center
over-
situation,
Nope.
He's not elected for detention, remember?
He's appointed for.
He's appointed right now,
He's
so that's why I say, I think we need to put Robert Simpson in there, believe me, right behind that.
But you don't have the authority over elected positions.
Well, I don't, it's no different than what you have also on the sheriff, I mean, you're doing the same on the sheriff.
But
Sheriff is, you didn't combine the corrections to the sheriff's
But we
office
have
is
no
what they're
more
trying to
right.
tell you.
What Ken's saying is we don't have any more right to tell take you off the sheriff or put me on with the assessor.
Yeah, now, okay, so hang on just a second.
Okay.
The sheriff, in the elected sheriff's position, is totally different than the sheriff in the appointed interim position in detention.
That's what the difference is.
That's the difference, in my opinion.
Okay, so you're talking sheriff on the on the jail.
On the
not,
jail.
Not the
Jail
sheriff,
only,
not
not
the
the
sheriff, so we need to put jailer in that spot then.
Well, technically, detention, it's really the detention, it ends up being Sheriff
I
Overman.
understand now, but that makes sense.
It's really,
It goes further than that, because whoever is doing that, myself or whatever, is in charge of that whole, not in charge of the detention center, but the liaison for the detention center.
Right.
Because it's not an elected position.
But we're not calling it that, and I think we need to get the right wordage on that. It should be, well, you got detention, does say detention center.
Yeah.
he's
So
the,
anything that
he's
happens
I'm
with
back on the right
detention
page.
center, they have
Interim-
the opportunity to call me for assistance or whatever they need.
Okay,
you could
I'm on
call
the
it
right page.
interim director Overman,
I got it now, I got it.
Okay.
I was off the
rather
base a
than,
little bit. I didn't look at it.
cause he's not in that position as an elected official,
You're
But in
correct.
Robert's position, that has been absorbed by the
elected official.
by the elected official, and he's the one who's making the call for the mapping department, so we have really no say over the mapping department anymore.
Okay.
Well, and so the question was gonna be, and I think Kelly said, let's leave that line blank and leave Russ there, maybe, in my opinion, maybe for a year, till we get this all ironed out. Maybe
Yeah,
you're
I have no
saying
problem
it's
with
no
that.
big deal. I mean, by next year, then that line item can probably come off
Yeah.
of
I
this
agree.
list.
Yeah, probably right.
But even if you leave it on, you still don't have any authority over Robert, who's an elected
But I can make suggestions.
Right, we all could, as far as, yeah.
as we can in any elected official
Exactly.
department.
Okay, so going back on my question, when we acknowledge who the elected, or who the appointed official is for these positions, I understand, I guess, I didn't realize that was a real important thing. I thought all it was that we was acknowledging who's in that position.
So we are reappointing them for the following year, for the next year.
You think they're tied in for a year, no matter
That's-
That's the way it's always
Not
been.
tied in.
Ken explained that to me when I first got it, I remember that.
That's how I was explained decades ago, or at least 2 decades.
Is this something
Wow.
Phil could help with?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. At the very least, I wanna ask you.
Wouldn't hurt to ask.
Lisa, isn't an appointed official basically at will?
I would
Yes,
think
that's
Like
the
anything,
reason-
any other
That's
employee?
the reason you
Yes.
reappoint them every year.
Okay,
Yeah, but at will, in her mind and my mind, when you say at will, it means at will.
you can
Meaning
change you can
next
appoint
week,
them
you
in
could change your
January,
mind.
but change your mind come March.
Right,
If there's somebody on that list that we decide we don't want in that position, if you have an affirmative vote from this board, they aren't appointed for the next year. Period. There's other ways of doing it, as we have all been through. But that's the reason, and I've never been involved with it when there hasn't been anybody on that list that wasn't approved at the meeting. We've had people that we've removed from it, but it wasn't at the reorganization meeting.
so they can be removed.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's the question I
Yeah,
had.
yeah, I
I
think
thought
so.
you said they're in for a year,
Well, they're in.
You appoint 'em for
they're
the
in
year.
Unless there's an
Unless we remove them.
issue for some reason,
Right.
as we had,
right? They can be removed is what I
Oh,
understand.
absolutely.
Okay, as long as we understand that,
What,
then I'm,
basically what you're doing on this one, I think, my understanding, is that we as a board are saying we are okay with all of these officials to be under this department.
As of today.
We are reappointing them under this position.
Right.
That doesn't mean that 3 months down the road, one of them doesn't screw up and has to be removed, that's fine.
right, okay, I
last
just wanted to be
meeting-
sure we understood.
Yeah.
Okay,
Last meeting, we had to verify to the state of Nebraska that Steve Baird was our road and bridge superintendent for the year. In some way, we have to point to verify that. I mean, there's gonna be verification along with that signature.
And we did that by vote of the board.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Steve and I handle that every year.
right, and we were doing that for really more of a state purpose than we were for our own
Oh,
purposes.
that's right. Oh, that's right.
But,
Okay, so I
we're
did
gonna
ch-
verify that, with this.
I changed your, appointed officials Assessor Robert Simpson for mapping. So that it
doesn't even need to
is,
be on this list.
I know that, but
I'd put
Well,
it,
that's the question, I guess, and that's, do we
Should
wanna
have
leave it on
somebody
this list for a year, or do we wanna take it off
no,
now?
I think we ought
That's
to
the
leave it on
question.
there for a year, I think we ought to put it, leave it on there for a year, put Robert's name in there, leave it there. Cause we could've made the sheriff, mapping director if you wanted to, I mean, anybody, just, somebody's name's gotta be in that one. Next year, it can all come off if everything runs smooth. What are you thinking, Charlie, you got a thought over there?
Well, it doesn't matter if we have them on the list or not. The fact is, we combined the departments, and the mapping department is now controlled by the assessor. So, like Ken says, we don't have to have him on this list.
Can we just remove the whole thing?
We just remove the whole thing.
Well,
Let's do it.
I bet you Phil Kelly would say that. I think that's what you're saying, and they're saying that, so.
I'm fine either
Because
way.
we took that action.
In hindsight, should we have appointed him as the interim mapping director? I don't know how we would have done that with a director already on staff, so. You know, but
it's done.
we could, it's done, yeah. But we could have done what we did with the sheriff of the jail, with the mapping of the
Possible.
assessor, but we went a different route, so.
Okay, yeah.
Alright, so
We're good.
are we okay with taking this line item off?
Why don't we ask Phil before we do that, all right, is Phil coming tonight, do you have an idea?
I think he'll be here for the regular meeting, won't he?
Okay.
Let
Let's ask,
everybody know.
I think-
We could ask him.
let's ask him on that,
While
he,
he's here.
even before the meeting, just get his
Right,
opinion and
we
then.
don't have to decide tonight, we can decide,
the 21st
you'll
maybe.
want it before the
Yeah,
21st,
before the
maybe, but
21st.
just so you have your paperwork in order. Alright, we'll ask him tonight when he's here,
That's fine, whichever way it goes.
so. Alright, I think everything else on this, everybody's okay with the situation, alright. So, if we, then go to the next item, general discussion, is there anything else anybody wants to talk about before we adjourn? We will officially adjourn from this meeting, then we'll start again for the 4:30 meeting.
You wanna talk about NACO?
Yes,
Since we're
Go
just
ahead.
here, I gave you your tickets, I will be in charge of them if you need me to. I gave them their tickets, only cause I've always kept them for you. I've always kept them for you until we get there. I gave Russ and Ken their oaths for January 9th already. And their memo about when their meeting is at 9 o'clock with Judge D. We gotta be a little flexible, we're gonna meet at the district judges
And that's the 8th or the
the
9th?
9th.
The
Ninth.
9th,
so when do we take our class picture?
21st
I
at
have that
3:30.
Thank
It's
you.
in an email,
Yeah,
I read it in an email
where's
today.
everybody's laptops that we had to get you?
They're in my drawer,
Where do you check your email that I sent
at
you?
home, I got mine at home.
I checked my home.
I check most of mine here,
Okay,
every once in a while at the office.
okay.
I need to.
I take it home with, I take it to my office in between and bring it back from the meeting. But quite frankly, I don't use it during the meeting. I have your agenda and stuff right there available, but I'm always using my hard copy almost, so.
So what did we decide about the first meeting in January,
We're having it at the regular date and time.
on January 6th?
Right, and
And they will be participants.
they'll be
You
acting,
know what, even if they'd have got voted out, they should be, according to what Phil said in his
they
email.
would still be here
They
on the
would-
6th, that's
Yeah,
what his-
They should be,
right,
but
they,
as record has shown, if
Sometimes
somebody
they don't
gets voted out, they don't come to the first meeting. Like,
Right.
when I got sworn in, it was the 3rd, and
Well-
our first meeting wasn't until the 7th,
right,
so
so
that wasn't a problem.
the memo from Phil says they will be here on the 6th if they choose to be here. They'll be here on the 6th. They'll be acting as prior, elected officials.
Because
And
they
not until the 9th will they be as new elected officials. And it's just
Right.
ironic because it's the same people.
We're gonna have 8 hours of on the 8th, their term ends, but they're getting sworn in on the 9th,
Right.
Thursday morning.
Yeah, that's what Phil So, we have our regular meeting January
6th.
6th. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at 24. Yeah, January
January
6th
6th?
is Monday.
And then our reorganization will be January 21st, which
Right.
kinda leaves me twitchy, cause that's not where you look for stuff, but
And swear-in is January 9th.
at 9 o'clock at the courthouse. District judges.
Okay. I guess while we're here, are there any other dates in January that are significant that you're aware of?
Time was it 9:30? 9
I
o'clock?
thought it was 9. For your swearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, she said, on the 9th at District Court. Top floor.
Not top. Second.
Is district,
Second floor, top floor is county attorney's office. We have 3 floors over there.
I know.
Ground, 1,
Okay,
2,
well.
3. They need to go to the second floor.
Okay,
Stop looking at me. They need to go to the second floor.
is the second floor the top floor?
No, it is not.
Okay,
The top floor is the county attorney's office.
Brown one.
okay,
You can always check.
because
with
I thought
Nancy.
that the second floor was,
I know what you're talking about.
Judge Mickey and Judge Warden.
That's county.
That's if
That's
you
county.
count, that's
County court.
that's if you count the
The
floor you
lower
walk
level.
in on as the first floor, but it's the ground floor and then you
That's
go to the first floor,
amazing.
it's county court.
All right,
There's a story about that.
really?
Yeah, the guy goes into the ice cream shop, he says, I'd like some chocolate ice cream, the guy goes, don't have any. He said, okay, give me just a double dip of chocolate ice cream. He said, but we don't have any. He said, well, I'll take just one dip in a cup of some chocolate ice cream. He said, well, we don't have any. He said, how do you spell the blueberry? He goes, B-L-U-E. How do you spell the strawberry? S-T-R-A-W. How do you spell the stinking chocolate? He says, there is no stinking chocolate. So that's what I've been trying to tell you for the last 15 minutes.
Oh,
Okay, well, anyway, it's in the courthouse.
It took just 3 floors in the courthouse.
we'll just trust that they can find their way
Yeah.
to get sworn in again.
Yeah.
It's where they went the last time.
And so it's
so.
either, Judge Dober Baloney or Judge Miller.
Yeah,
Okay,
Judge D.
yeah, Judge D.
go, roll.
Okay, any other dates significant in
Nothing I
January?
can think of.
And after today, we don't have any more official meetings in December.
That is correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right,
We didn't schedule one.
So when I come open up any gifts.
gift exchange.
Secret Santa.
So if we
All right.
adjourn real quick, we'd have
Yeah.
time in between meetings.
I think I know where you're headed, so I'm gonna stall it out as long as I
That's
can.
fine.
No, anyone else have anything we need to talk about? All right, hearing no more business, meeting's adjourned. We'll be back at 4:30.
Yeah, we might be surprised, it might be interesting.
It might be. It might. But it,
4:30.
but it sounds like, it will be interesting.
Mary Kay has.
Okay, we're about ready to get started here.
How's it going?
Okay, it is 4:30, the meeting will, come to order. For public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is posted on the back of this meeting room on the east wall, if anyone needs to see that. We'll have roll call.
Harris,
Here.
Knapper,
Here.
Meyer, Reisig,
Here.
Blue,
Here.
All right, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance if you'd stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, just want to mention the things that I normally mention before the meetings. A reminder to all that this meeting is being recorded to be broadcast at a later date. So we need to remember, whoever wants to speak, be sure to come forward to the microphone once you're recognized. And you'll need to state your name for the record and spell your name for the clerk so that she can do her minutes appropriately. Remember, no swearing or no inappropriate language. Oh, no. So we'll mention that here. We all need to check our cell phones and turn them off, or at least turn them to silent. And I'll try and do that here in a second. Want to remind the commissioners as well to speak clearly and loud directly into your microphone, so that the recordings can be appropriately heard. We will plan to take about an 8-minute break about midway through the meeting, and I'll decide when that will be. Also this evening, want to recognize Mr. Phil Kelly, as this may be the last meeting that he's officially here. Oh, January 6th.
Awful excited to present that wind energy renewable.
Okay, good.
regulation.
All right.
But
I can see the excitement in your
yeah,
eyes.
he's
No,
gonna
I live my life, I'm excited about regulations.
he's gonna be phasing kinda out of this position, and his new counterpart from his office, Jason Ocean, will be starting to fill in, and you'll probably see him here tonight. He'll be coming in a little bit later. He's got another meeting he's at. Anyway, so several of us can get introduced to him. Also wanted to mention this evening, Mr. Blue has a commitment this evening. He'll be leaving around 5 o'clock from our meeting, so I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. Okay, so I think that's the announcements. So the next item is the approval of the agenda, or consider any modifications. Kelly, do you have anything?
The only thing is, I noticed on our regular meeting that I also had what we addressed in the, work session. The very last, before old business, is what I should have put at the 3:30. It's beautifully written on that part instead of the way I have it on the 3:30.
The discussion stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is our normal item. All right,
And I've got one change.
okay.
The second item under general agenda items, discuss and consider bylaw change regarding board makeup for tourism. We're gonna remove that item completely. We'll keep the other two tourism items on there though.
Okay,
What's the reason for taking it off? Wasn't that the tourism committee's request to put it on?
No, we did not have enough votes to vote on it, so we'll have to vote on it in January.
and then it may still come to us later then, is what you're saying?
Yes, then we'll just put it back on the agenda later.
Okay.
Okay,
Which item was that one?
it's the second item under general agenda items,
Bylaw change?
right?
So that'll go back to your tourism committee for an official vote then,
Yes.
before it comes to us? Okay, gotcha.
All right. So do we have a motion to approve the agenda other than this one item to be taken off?
I move that
Just
we,
one other question on that. Are you gonna have a special meeting for that? Cause aren't you guys meeting quarterly now, or?
Right, but the first
Oh, I see, okay,
Yeah, so we'll have one in January.
okay, I got you, alright, thank you.
I'd move to approve the agenda with the approved changes.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Alright, the motion's approved. We'll go on then to the next part. Wanna, be sure and remind everyone, the board reserves the right to enter into a closed session if deemed necessary. We do have a scheduled, executive session item at the last item on the agenda tonight. But this also is saying that if for some reason during the meeting we deem that we need to go into a closed session, that, we reserve the right to do that. Okay, we can go ahead and, move on down to the next item, which is the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, all of these items are expected to be, approved with one, motion unless a commissioner wants to consider one of these separately. I'd ask, does anyone wanna consider one separately?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Alright, so we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Alright, the motion's carried, and the, consent agenda is adopted. We'll go on to Board of Equalization. We need to have a motion to go into Board of Equalization.
Well, I
I'll move that
to-
we move into Board of Equalization.
Okay. Mike, do you want
I'll
to
second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to go to Board of Equalization. Any other discussion? Let's go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. Alright, so we'll go to the first item, discuss and consider approval of 14 motor vehicle exemptions for Capwin. Heather?
So, this is Capwin's list of their annual list of vehicles, so anything I've brought you throughout the year that's not in December is something that was purchased new and only got a partial exemption. This is for the upcoming year. So they have 14 vehicles, that have motor vehicle taxes. The total tax loss to the county would be $4,507.80. These vehicles are used to deliver food supplies to the hungry, to transport youth dwelling at their runaway homeless youth shelter at 2426 Broadway, to transport repair supplies to low-income housing properties, and to transport staff and medical supplies to their off-main campus medical clinics. So these vehicles have all previously been exempt, and I would recommend approval.
Any questions from commissioners? Alright, if not, entertain a motion.
Well, I move that we approve the 14 motor vehicle exemptions for Capwin.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Alright, motion's carried. Thank you. Alright, we'll go on to the next item, which is receive tax list corrections. We have the list. Are there any, questions, for these? Robert, I was asking earlier, but we're seeing several of these are from the C.W. Yount Foundation, which was the Turk action. that was taken, and this is,
16 access corrections, EWD.
okay? Any questions from any other commissioners? Alright. Let's see, so we don't have a motion yet, do we?
You haven't asked for one yet.
Yeah, so I'm ready to have a motion if someone's ready to
So
do it.
moved.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the, tax list corrections. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. We'll need a motion to go out of Board of Equalization.
I move that we leave Board of Equalization.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We'll have a motion and a second to leave the Board of Equalization. We'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Alright. So the motion's carried. We'll be out of Board of Equalization then and go on to general agenda items. First one is discuss and consider earmarked funds for Landers Soccer Complex. Brenda, Tourism Director, and Nate Rock, Western Nebraska Football Club.
We have been a long time at this project and we're finally seeing some blue sky. Nate has been here 3 times and, the first 2, as you know, it's capital improvement funds and it expires after a year. So he was here in 2021 when we first approved the project and of course it expired. He came back in 2022 with the same project idea, which was actually restrooms and lighting at the Landers soccer field. The estimates that they had were about 300,000. It turns out they're about $1 million short on that project. So he came back again and adjusted the earmarked money. So we've already approved the money. All we're really here to do is get you to approve it again for another year because we're ready to rock this time, so literally.
No pun intended.
October 2023, Nate came back and said that he had some help from the Booster Club and the city of Scotts Bluff was going to pitch in, and the lighting was too costly, but they were going to go ahead and move forward with scoreboards and a sound system. And so the good news is that the scoreboards have been ordered, so we will definitely have a receipt within the next year.
Did you get any
before-
sponsorship on the scoreboards?
Yeah, we are working on that, so there's a lot of places for there. The situation is that the city owns the complex.
Yeah.
And so we wanted the board to be neutral. So for example, we didn't wanna put like Scotts Bluff High School's anchor sponsors that go on their scoreboards. We wanna make sure that all entities have a chance to use that scoreboard, so, there's room for it on the scoreboard, but there hasn't been added to it right now.
What is the fee for the sponsorship?
We haven't decided that
You
as
haven't
well,
decided that
no,
yet.
and then we'd have to come together as 3 different organizations to decide what that would be.
I see, okay, thank you.
So again, this money is earmarked. We've still saved it out for them. It still shows on my budget. It's just the timing of it, it keeps expiring, but now it has been ordered. I visited with, Matt Carpenter the other day, and he assured me that they were on their way. Do you want to explain kind of a little bit of, what you did the other day to us about where they're gonna go?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me. It's just been a long process working with all these different entities to get this done. The biggest thing that we didn't wanna do as a club is make sure we were just spending money just to spend money. We wanted to make sure when we did it so it would help us and help the community. So we actually did it working with the installation so we can actually save the old scoreboard and move that to a different location, so that can serve an entirely different field. The problem was that structure, that had the old scoreboard on it can't support the new one, with the the sound system, so there has to be a new structure involved in that installation. So they're moving one scoreboard to the east and then installing a much bigger scoreboard with sound, and stuff like that, which will be utilized by the three entities that use that.
So I do have a question, maybe now's the time to ask, so, I'm not a major soccer person, so I'm not real familiar with how things happen, but, so there is some lighting out there right now just for the restroom area, the concession area, is that what that is?
The lighting is just to basically ward off anybody messing with the shed.
Okay, and then, you said that this money primarily is for the scoreboard and sound system. Will we someday, I'm assuming you're working towards lighting on that at some point in time for
We
that
are.
main field?
We are working on that as we speak. We've been
Sure.
working on it for a long time. It's not cheap.
Sure.
But it's something that complex needs, and that's kind of our next goal. We think we can get there, with some grants that we're looking into, but that's the next step in this.
So will there also someday then also be, some further seating? That
Yeah.
would be,
So we have a 5-phase, improvement plan, to provide lighting, bathrooms, locker rooms, scoreboard, sound system, seating, all that stuff is in our general improvement plan, and we're just kind of going step by step and knocking that out. Based on the need, member response, we do a survey at the end saying, what do we need, and of course, the number one need is bathrooms, but that sewer lift is cost prohibitive right now without more, what's the word I'm looking for, without more development up to the north, that sewage lift isn't going to come in until they do that. And we're
So-
always gonna have to use porta potties up there anyways, not to.
so you're using porta potties now, and so it needs a lift to make it
Across
go
47.
downhill, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yep.
Okay. So, okay.
Eloquent.
Yeah, so we have a plan to make it really is a really, really nice facility. We have a plan to make it better, and we're just kind of checking that off as we go.
Okay. Any other thoughts or questions from commissioners or anyone else?
Brenda, you say this has already been approved?
Yes. We approved it in 2021 and then it expired and then we came back in 2022 and then it expired and
So
so,
the money's available.
yeah, it's saved, it's in the budget.
But you need us to approve it again.
You need to, yes, you need to prove it again, basically, just to say that it's for the scoreboards and the sound system, and then when we receive, the invoices, then then we include your, the minutes, and then that's how it is
Officially
paid.
gets paid. Wow.
I think the main story here is the football club has been doing their part, the county has been doing their part, and there's 2 other entities that have really come to the table now and are ready to move this thing forward, so that's kind of why we're here today.
That sounds good.
So certainly I'd entertain a motion to, or whatever.
I'll move to approve the earmarked funds for Landers Soccer Complex.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Okay, the motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're skipping the next item on the agenda, that'll come up in a few weeks. So we'll go to the item that's the bottom item on this page, the first page. Discuss and consider appointment of Melissa Price to the Tourism Board. Brenda. I met Melissa just the other day.
I don't do these all the time, so I actually had to call somebody and say, hey, how do I, make the recommendation? We don't do it that often, not very many people leave our board, but we put together an interviewing committee, and that consisted of Ken Meyer, Charlie Knapper, Brenda Lacey, Lana Hubbard, Dave Wolf, and Chuck Heeman. And we interviewed 3 candidates on December 11th, 2 for the sports position and 1 at-large member. And we really enjoyed, we had 2 fantastic candidates, both very passionate about youth sports in our area. And I think what made Melissa kind of unique was that she also has worked in the tourism industry. So she worked back with Kevin Howard, so she knows a little bit of our goals and how tourism works. And she has a strong community development experience, background in marketing and public relations. When we filled out our bid for girls class, I think it was girls class B, when we put our bid together, it took a lot of people to put that first bid in and gather all kinds of information from both schools and the golf courses in the community. And she helped with that, and also she helped with the branding and marketing for the aquatic center. So she has vast experience in youth sports, and wrestling is her favorite. So taking these things into consideration from her interview, the interviewing committee recommends that the Scotts Bluff County Commissioners accept Melissa and appoint her to the tourism position.
Just have a question, does the tourism committee need to vote on that?
No, they don't. The bylaws, the state statutes clearly state that the Board of Commissioners will appoint the board members, the tourism committee members.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is that, does that recommendation come from a vote of the tourism committee? I agree with everything you said. I sat through the interview and I absolutely agree with qualifications, everything else, but we didn't do the one just prior to this because it wasn't voted on by the board, by the tourism committee. You didn't have enough people to vote on it.
Right, we didn't,
So I'm just
yeah.
talking procedural here, if you're gonna, if that's something that needs to be voted on and then sent to our board, then we're back in the same as we were on the first one. Just a thought.
In the years past, we always have. We've always voted on it and then brought you the recommendation.
Okay.
That's how we've always done it, but
And understanding that the
it says,
commissioners
yeah.
do actually do the appointment and the
Right.
approval of it, yeah, which is fine.
I mean, so I don't know how that's how we've always done it. We've always came to you, we've always done the interviews and then came to you and, gave you our recommendations.
But it was after a vote of.
But it was, yeah, it was
a vote of the
after they
tourism committee,
voted.
Correct, okay. Just,
I was under the impression we didn't have to move that way anymore, but I
There's-
don't,
Yeah, there's nothing that states that is required.
that's kind of why we did the interview committee, so that some of the board members were on there, to help. But our bylaws don't say that, don't say that it's just how we've always done it. That's how I was taught way back when the very first appointments came about. The tourism committee has always done that work and then came to you.
that's why I thought they did it, that's what I'm saying. And I wouldn't have even brought it up other than the fact that we're not taking action on the one prior to that because you didn't have a quorum at the board to do it, so.
Right.
Just procedurally.
Yeah, there's nothing in the bylaws, there's no language anywhere that states we have to have a recommendation from the tourism committee to place people on the tourism committee. In fact, we didn't even have to do a interview committee. We could we could have just received applications as a board of commissioners and made the decisions ourselves. We decided to add a step by holding interviews with an interview committee that consisted of 2 commissioners, 2 tourism committee members, Brenda, and, another tourism industry person.
Yeah, he serves on the grant committee, so
Yeah,
he's a,
So I'll make a motion to appoint Melissa Price to the tourism board.
I'll second that.
I'll only say that I'm certainly, you haven't had any objections from any of the people on your board that, and they're aware that, we've been going through this process.
yeah, they all received,
Information.
yeah, the information about it. I mean, the big thing is that Kim Johns went off the board, so we're down 2 people already. You know, so it's very small right now.
Okay. Well, my personal opinion is, I don't have a problem with, voting, in favor of Melissa in this position, even tonight, but, I'm wondering, from a bylaw policy, if we need to review that, with Phil's office and just be sure that we feel confident in that going forward. And then, bylaw or not, is that the best policy, might be the question, so, or not. So, maybe we can talk about that further, for positions coming up.
Yes.
But I'm okay with, voting in favor of that tonight, based upon no, opposition has been voiced to you, so.
Yeah, no.
Any other thoughts from commissioners? So we have a motion and a second that would, be to appoint Melissa Price to the tourism board. Any other discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses?
All right, so the motion's passed, and appreciate your willingness to serve. I guess, Brenda or Charlie or whoever, or Phil's office, I guess, do we need to review that further?
Well, I suppose we definitely need clear direction on how it should be done.
Right.
I mean, that's how we've always done it before, because that's just what was handed down to me. So I can definitely send, the bylaws over to Phil
Phil.
and let him, look and
Take a
see
look.
if.
See if he
I
has
mean,
an
I
opinion
understand that
for
the
us.
recommendation needs to come from the commissioners, but I think the committee should have a pretty strong say in who's, sent, yeah, I mean,
So, Phil, if you can maybe at least look at that through your office, give us a, thought about technically the bylaws, whether it says it needs to be done or not.
Right.
And then if not, if it doesn't have to be, then we need to decide as policy
Yes.
what we would expect from it.
yes,
So it's clear for everybody.
okay, yeah,
All right.
we'll,
Well, I'll give you the email.
okay.
All right, thanks. Okay, so we'll continue on the back side of the agenda page. The next item is discuss and consider approval of resolution for loan of capital improvement funds. Lisa and Heather.
Yes, include Heather on this. We usually come to you in June asking when there's a shortfall on one of our funds, cause we have various funds that we operate out of, that we can borrow from the Keno fund, or we can borrow so much from the inheritance fund. And for a couple of years, we were also including the capital improvements fund to be borrowing from, but we haven't necessarily needed that the last 2 years, so we didn't include that. We're in a very bad cash situation at the moment. So we are asking to, I say it's bad, I mean, it's, general fund hasn't been this low since I've been here. So, I ask for a resolution be approved to be able to borrow funds from the capital improvement fund. And I can read the resolution to you, and then I can demonstrate some information I pulled together to explain to you why we are where we are, and what Heather and I have discussed as far as trying to get an initiative around here about January, February, March are not the good months to be spending big dollars, and we just had a lot of money going out the door for big projects that we just cannot, cause the money doesn't come in until April and August typically, so.
I think you should go ahead and read the resolution for the recording's sake, and it's fairly short, so.
Whereas special revenue new funds of Scotts Bluff County at times during the budget year experience cash flow shortfalls due to payments being due before adequate revenue collections have been made. And whereas a loan transfer of capital improvement funds can be made to offset these shortages, be it therefore resolved that an amount not to exceed a cumulative total of $1 million be loaned to the general fund or special revenue funds as needed from the capital improvement fund. The Board of Commissioners will be notified as these loans occur as an agenda item in an advertised public meeting. These loans to commence on December 16th and are to be repaid by the general fund or the special revenue funds that receive loans no later than June 30th, 2025. So, anyway, I was looking at my columns here, and I'm gonna send you a piece of paper. November 2022, November of 2023, and the balance of the general fund November this year. Over $1 million in the year, except right now. Road and bridge just asked for a transfer. They got the bridge to take care of. They had a road grader payment to make. It seems like they had a couple projects come due, so that's why their funding's high, but then we just are paying it out this month. And, other issues we're having is a shortfall out at the detention center with getting federal money cut in. We discovered this last month, or we learned of this, I mean, it's probably not been known to others, but just not known by the treasurer, for sure, that money was in short supply.
Lisa, you had mentioned that the roads department had a payment to make on a motor grader, would that not have been budgeted?
Yes, yes, it is, it's that 5-year loan, that capital lease, I think you called it.
Okay, but we're still loaning money to them to make that payment?
That was, is that the bond? The bond payment?
It's a lease. It's a
Lease
lease.
Okay, lease.
$45,000 twice a year. Anyway, I just was doing some analysis of when we loan money to the different departments from the general fund, what we budgeted and where we ended up, what we budgeted this year, and we've already, last year at this time, we had loaned or sent money out, or as we do, we move money to the different funds from the general fund. At this time last year, we'd moved $2 million, and this year we've already moved 3. And Road and Bridge has received 1.3 million, and Detention Center 1.4 million, Comm Center 600,000. So, and looking at our other information, I gave you some breakdown of where the revenue comes in from, like the detention center, and the federal funds has been short. I don't know if it was an election thing or what was the reasoning. I was assured it had been billed, and it has been taken care of. I don't know how much money has come in
You're
the
talking
last
about
2
the
weeks.
detention center?
Yes.
I know the answer to that.
Yeah, come on up, I think we ought to hear it.
So I didn't know about this. And then till Lisa sent this out, and we're like 3 months behind, and that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I mean, it's $300,000 a month, thereabouts. And so I inquired with our staff, and it had been billed. properly billed. And,
It has been.
it has been properly billed, and so I called the US Marshal that day, and he did not know that, and they had a change in staff people there. Somebody left, somebody's there is left to pick up the pieces and do the job that somebody left. And so he got after it quickly, and the money's flowing, and it started flowing right away, so. I don't know how far down we are now, but I know we got one payment really fast, and,
I think we've gotten 3 big payments.
Yeah.
okay, well, we were down 3. So,
Since he's
so we were
passed,
down
so,
3, that was probably 30 days ago, and now we've got 3, so.
Yeah.
Well, I think
So we're,
we got it fixed.
In our consent agenda, we always get that report of money that's coming in, and I seen that there was at least one big payment in there of that,
That's good to know.
I think we got it fixed.
okay?
But yeah. Anyway, we just need another lifeline.
just in case, I mean, you know, that, when we do these resolutions, the hope is to not have to borrow money from these funds, but if at the end of the month we have a shortfall, we need someplace to get.
This gives you the authority, because you have
Yes,
to,
it does.
you have to bring this to the commissioners to be able to do it.
Right, and, by state statute, we can't have a fund in the negative at the end of the month. So this just gives us an option to move money, and we keep track of it. I send you guys that spreadsheet every month, that way you know where we've moved money from and where we've paid back funds to.
And we get this one that, is this the one you're talking about?
That I send you every month.
Right. And so, we continually, we always see some of, the bus, because we're waiting on some
Yeah.
funds there, I believe. And,
Did we get August payment finally? Is that the one we just got last? We just got August payment last week, but we're about 3 months behind on their payments, just because they ask for so much information and they audit everything that we send in. So he has to jump through a lot of hoops to get that money paid back, and it takes a while.
okay,
Lisa, are we waiting for payments from the bus service for the 150 on that, or?
That's what they were just talking of.
Okay.
We're typically about 2 months behind.
We are.
August just came in, a week ago. So, and Kurt turns them over as quick as he can, and he can only do, 1
He can
month
only
ahead.
have, yeah, one open claim at a time, so he got the August payment, so he sent in for September, and I'm sure he's waiting for feedback from them, but it's just it's a continual behind. About a year ago, how far? We were like 6 months behind, 7 or 8 months behind, so we're doing better, but it just doesn't come in
that's quick.
as quick as we need it to.
Like, it takes, I have to have bank statements from Kelly, show canceled checks, for the last payroll run of the month. So last payroll run in October, those canceled checks don't show up until the November bank statement, which we don't get until December. And so basically, as soon as they approve the month I have submitted, even while I'm waiting payment, I submit the next one, so they can start the desk review. And so we should be, I haven't heard back on September's yet, it's been submitted for a couple of weeks. October's is in the queue, ready to go. I've got November started, and again, I won't be able to finish it until until January when I get December's bank statement from Kelly.
And these are state organizations that require this of
The
you?
state auditor is requiring
Yeah.
all this documentation.
Well, I understand the intent, but the fact is it don't work very
It's
well.
micromanaging.
Yeah, and,
Slow walking is what they're doing.
yeah, and so, is there a way we can voice our thoughts or opinion and write a letter
More than one.
write a letter for us sometime and we'll sign it.
So
And we
Okay,
put the end
and
on,
send it
right?
to them.
Because of-
it probably have to go to, they have their own auditor on staff now that works through the state auditor's office, but that's where the big pushback is coming from. So
The aging office has the same issue on getting their payments.
Auditor
They're,
public accounts.
they're constantly on the phone begging, pleading, behind, whatever.
If you haven't seen Open Plains Transit, they're a 501c3 out of Alliance, they've had to suspend services, waiting on their
Well,
funds getting reimbursed. So
Again, another reason to
So,
say, hey,
yep.
this isn't working. We understand what you want, we understand why, but it isn't working this way. with having to wait on bank statements that don't come. So, anyway,
He's doing his
feel
best to
free to
comply.
write the letter and we'll sign it. Okay,
Anyway, that's what we need, cause she had been using a good chunk out of inheritance, like we can only borrow up to 500,000 out of the inheritance and the Keno funds. Well, we were using some of that, we needed just one more, general's gonna have a problem.
shore up the issue.
And generally, we take care of this with a resolution at the beginning of the year,
In June,
in June.
we just
And
didn't
so you don't have to come to the commissioners to ask for this all the time because it's already approved from those funds, but because we need to
Right,
use for
and
capital improvement, we have
We
to get this
just
approved.
haven't needed to use anything out of capital improvements for the last couple of years, so we didn't, y'all remember a few years ago, the detention center owed capital improvements almost $1 million. And so, once they paid that off, we really hadn't used the capital improvements resolution, so we didn't think we needed it, but this is just a backup. You know, we do collect money in December, and we are collecting money right now, so we hope we don't need to use it, but this is a backup in case we do.
Hopefully with the sheriff's information, it'll help you
And
get on track.
we've got, the detention center was about,
as of November, we were 600,000.
yeah, they were behind and they've paid back 200,000 of their loan,
I
you'll
think
see on
that's
your
what I
sheet,
saw,
so,
yeah,
Oh, you're talking about the loan, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
but
Okay.
April's right around the corner, so.
right, yeah, I know, that's
And
my
that's
office,
our
I'm
big
always
concern is
looking at
payroll.
payroll, yeah, I know, that's, you gotta make sure that's covered every time, and so.
Holy cow, thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners?
I'd move for approval of the resolution.
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Oh, sorry.
You have 4 yeses and 1 no vote.
One no or one abstention?
One abstain, I marked him out. 1 not vote,
Okay.
excuse me.
Okay. All right, so the motion's carried, and we're signing the resolution as we speak, I guess.
Before you approved it.
Well, he started it,
I just now started it.
but
We just,
Did you already give him the resolution, Lisa?
she did.
somebody did.
What's that?
You already passed the resolution?
I passed one around, but then you have.
We can sign the one you got, that's fine.
Whichever one you need.
I typically don't have you sign it till you approve it.
Yeah, wow.
Well,
I
It
didn't
was
sign
being
it, I
approved.
didn't sign it till it was approved.
It was being approved as you, but it's true, we don't like signing them until they're approved.
I did not, I didn't sign it.
All right,
I think I saw your pen.
we're gonna take 2 more items, and after those 2 items, we're gonna have a short break, and, then we'll go from there. So the next one is discuss and consider approval of the CBA grant 25-CB-0257 and a signature. Tamara?
Hello. This is the annual application for a grant. Our office runs on a grant every year. So far, well, for last year, we had 89 referrals to diversion. Right now, we have 37 kids on diversion. Last school year, we had 97 truancy referrals. This school year, we've had 41 so far. Family support services have been offered to every juvenile that enters our office. That is in the way of tutoring. We have hired an outside tutoring through the grant. We have mediation, we have mental health services, we have education. We have started parenting classes for parents. And so this grant covers all of that. It covers our family support staff in my office, trainings, travel expenses, all the educational materials that we use, incentives. This year, we've also applied to use the Tri-City Roadrunner more to get kids to school and to get kids to diversion meetings and family support meetings. So hopefully we can get kids to school and take away that need. this year, the grant is $2,000 less than last year. However, that's because we only have, we have two big trainings, one's in Kearney and one's in Lincoln. The one in Lincoln is only every other year, so next year we won't have a training in Lincoln.
How do they pay their payments?
As soon as I submit them, they pay them.
Okay, so we don't have an issue with that.
You must not be working with the same department as everybody else is.
Well, I'm working with the state, but we work through Amplifund instead of directly with the state.
Okay. This is what we've done in the past, and,
Yes,
Yeah,
we've had this
same
grant for
grant.
8 years now.
right, does Jim Lawson still work in your office?
No, sir.
He's retired,
Yes.
okay. Alright.
I would move for approval.
I'll second.
Alright, so we have a motion and a second to approve. Any, other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
With Mr. Blue being excused, you have 4 yeses.
Motion's carried. She's giving me a form to sign here.
Okay, thank you. Will you give me a copy of the signature page when you're done, Tammy? Just making note to save it for you.
Thanks. Alright, we'll go on to one more, which is discuss and consider approval of ratification of chairman's signature on the Wing grant application with the Nebraska Crime Commission. Mark?
Gentlemen, this is a routine thing that you have seen before, many times. This is a grant application to support the Wing Task Force. We always put in for it, we've always been the fiduciary for Wing. And, there's no matching money, no cost to you, and this will cover overtime and some training and a few other things for personnel throughout the Panhandle that are assigned to the Wing Task Force.
I'll move to approve the ratification of chairman's signature on the Wing grant application with the Nebraska's Crime Commission.
Second?
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You have 4 yeses?
Alright, so the motion's carried. We are gonna take a short 8-minute break. I show 5:18, so we'll go to 5:26.
Yes.
Alright. Okay, the meeting will come back to order right on time, 8 minutes. We've been doing well on this agenda, and I appreciate all the help with that. Okay, we're up to the discuss holiday policy as it pertains to Christmas Eve, personnel policy number 6000.00. Lisa?
Okay, I have it up on the board, and I just wanted to point out that we have a bullet point C now that was passed in June of 2022, that if the federal and state government declares Christmas Eve a holiday, Scotts Bluff County will also observe the holiday. That's not always how it's been said before, and it could very well happen. So, just wanted to bring it out so there isn't question. Brought it to the officials the other day, so.
Okay, so it hasn't been declared yet, but it
Has
could
not.
be.
It could. Right.
And it's part of our policy, so we just need to be aware of that, right?
Did we bring any other concerns at officials? Heather, Kelly, thoughts? No, not really, okay.
The only question that I've been asked is if they don't declare it a holiday,
That's what, can we leave?
we're wondering if you would propose any
I proposed a long time ago that we consider that kind of action, but I'm not willing to go there now. I mean, I'm not willing to, not based upon what we did back 3 or 4 years ago, I'm not. But I thought that what we had talked about at one time was to possibly make a declaration of if Christmas is on a Monday, what are we gonna do? If it's on a Tuesday, what are we gonna do? If it's on a Wednesday, what are we gonna do? And just make that decision and get it over with so everybody knows and can plan on it, based upon policy that we've put together, but, then we chose not to do that, and in my opinion, we decided on of course, Juneteenth and the floating holiday instead, and so, anyway, that's kinda where we're at. So, one of the questions tonight is whether or not we would go ahead and make a decision to close early. Is that a question that's being
Or
asked
just-
here?
Yes, and I think I just said discuss, so we aren't
Said
making a
close
plan.
or shut down the whole day.
Not the whole, only shut down the whole day if federal and state government declared it, that's a given, we wrote that down. And the question is, okay, so what if it doesn't, what if the federal government and the state government do not close? County probably will not close as well, but the offices within this building anyway, see very little foot traffic out for sure afternoon. If it would, what do we need to do to approve it closing offices at 2:00? We bring it to the commissioners, cause that's where a few years ago there was a problem with officials making the decision without consulting the commissioners.
Again, I would only say that I was in favor of that, but not with all the others being approved. So, that's all I would say. So I think those that were on the personnel board at the time made that choice. That's the choice they made.
Okay. So federal government does not close, state government does not close, county will not close, and we will remain open for the full day. That is
I
our,
know one of the things that was discussed, and it happens a lot in other entities also, is that, if a person has some vacation time or whatever, and they wanna take it off, if they get permission from their department head or their
oh, absolutely.
elected official to take that afternoon off or whatever the case might be, as long as that department is not left short-handed. We did it for 40 years in the city, we didn't officially have Christmas Eve off, but very, very unproductive day, to be honest with you.
So that's absolutely a possibility too.
Yeah.
People need to be gone, they can take
just leave
take
them
their
travel.
vacation.
Now,
Take-
say that again. You're suggesting they can take off and it doesn't matter?
Well, if they wanna take some vacation time.
Yeah, if they wanna take vacation time, that's no problem. Unpaid, I mean, you do that every day in your office, right?
Right, but the office, somebody should be there to keep it open till 4:30.
But what they're asking is to close early, close
That,
at 2 o'clock.
that's what they asked,
Yeah.
but that, I don't know that that's going to go anywhere at this point. If,
Well, these guys may be interested in that, but I'm
I
not.
personally don't have a problem with it, because it is unproductive. Anytime afternoon on Christmas Eve, there's a whole lot of people doing much of anything, really, but, that's not my decision.
I agree with Ken, if it's not productive, then why be here? But in addition to that, I don't believe it's the right thing to do to close and call it a holiday, because then we're paying holiday pay. I think what Ken was suggesting with how the city had operated in the past was operate on a skeleton crew, allow people to use their accrued time off rather than holiday pay. And, it should kind of be based on seniority or not in favor of granting a holiday unless federal and state declare the Christmas Eve a holiday. And just to be clear, that's federal and state, not one or the other.
I was on the board when we made that decision, Mark, and I, you know, I know that we offered some alternatives. And it was all around the Juneteenth. Said you know, and personally, I would like to see us take Christmas Eve off and work Juneteenth. I mean, when we talk about production, to be real honest with you, if we have this number in mind of how many holidays our employees are going to have, and if you're going to juggle stuff around, I would much rather see something that means something to somebody. The Friday before Easter, the Monday after Easter, Christmas Eve, you know, something that has something that we know that the employee is really could use that time off to do whatever it is that they're going to do. I'm not so sure that some of the other holidays that we give are whatever they are.
But we do have a floating holiday
We
now.
have the floating, and we gave up,
Arbor
Arbor Day,
Day.
correct? Yeah.
So, okay, that's, I think you've made your,
Right, I think I agree with what they're saying, yeah. Basically, and that's no different than what you do every day. Every day, the supervisor makes decisions who can take off and who can't. Right? So,
If it were up to me, just me alone, I'd give you the day off.
but we aren't asking that, that's, the
I
question was
I
just a
understand,
couple
but
hours, but.
that's my point, is I would rather see our employees have that opportunity than some of the other holidays that we're doing and paying full pay for.
I agree, and I
That's-
think, the Personnel Policy Board ought to review it again and say, you know what, in light of this particular week where it falls on a Wednesday, it's one of the most difficult ones to deal with, and I just say, yeah, let's talk about it, and let's
And I-
rework that
What are you gonna
process.
do when it falls on a weekend?
And we
Well,
get the Friday
We already
before.
have a policy for that.
The Friday or the Monday?
And the concern with putting Christmas
But we're
Eve,
talking
if
about
they
Christmas
don't call it off on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or Tuesday in this situation is we can't just close, the courts don't just close, is what we were told too, so.
Yeah, that was one of the issues, wasn't
So,
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to take another look at it, try and make something reasonable, and I think reasonable could certainly be that we could, work out where it could be taken off at noon or something, but I'm not willing to just add another half day, I'm not willing to do that, so,
Thank you.
alright? So we don't really need to take any action on that.
There's no action.
Okay. Next item is discuss and consider approval of resolution for the boundary change request from agreement between Kiowa and Lyman Rural Fire and the Village of Lyman. Phil, do you need to touch on that?
Sure. At the last meeting, there was a gentleman from the village or from the Kiowa.
It was
who came
Mike Hort, and he's the president of the rural fire
Mike Hort.
currently. Mike
Okay.
Hort.
And at the end of his little discussion, he said he's gonna be out of town, and I told him, you don't need to be here. That's why he's not here. So I drafted the resolution that you have in front of you. I've, provided it to the assessor. I talked with Robert earlier this week, or late last week, and he said that he's reviewed it through his office, through mapping, and so they're ready and they're happy with the resolution, and they'll make the changes to the boundary lines effective for taxes in 2025. The county has to approve the changes in the boundaries. You have to approve the changes in the boundaries. It's consistent with the agreement between the village and the fire district, what they've been asking for, and consistent with what the gentleman said at the last meeting.
So, what we got in our packet was the resolution of the Scotts Bluff County Board of Commissioners
To
written
change
by
the
you,
boundary.
and
I drafted
we're all
that, yeah.
satisfied with this.
And it attaches the agreements between the two entities and the map and that sort of thing, so.
Any thoughts or questions?
I'd move for approval of the resolution.
Okay, so we have a.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses?
Alright, motion's carried. Go to the next item, which is, receive a report from Public Transit Manager of Scotts Bluff County Fueling Facility.
Good evening, gentlemen. Commissioner Risey reached out to me last week, requesting an update on the status of the fueling facility, and just wanted to provide just a quick, review of what's going on out there. I included a copy of, some product dispensing totals. The reporting software for this is pretty robust, so it provides some nice breakdowns by department, by just totals, by vehicle, by driver. And based on the numbers, so the contract we signed, the RFP through Wesco was at $2.77.65 per gallon for 74,000 gallons. The maximum amount could be less, and that's for a 1-year period. If you look at that report, we're averaging about 5,500 gallons per month. About that. So that should put us, we're getting busier, so we're using a little more fuel. But that gives us a little over 13 months usage based on that current average.
How
So
long is it gonna last you?
if we don't have a spike in usage, it should get us through the year. At that, so that price should be good.
Looks like prices are coming down.
Looks like about 13 and a half months, a little less, and like I said, we've been busier, so we've been going through a little more fuel. Our trip numbers are up. So, but we have Wesco's put a monitor on there for us, and both Jay and I have an app on our phone that we can quickly look at, and it tells us the tank is 51% full. We currently have 5,178 gallons in there. It's close. It's not an exact measurement. There is an actual feet and inch meter on there we can read to, and then look at a chart and see how many gallons are in there. There's so many gallons per inch. So Jay and I keep an eye on that. Try to make sure we have some fuel. We did have an issue where that meter wasn't calibrated correctly, and we pretty much ran out of fuel. But Wesco was there the next morning to put fuel in, and they've since gotten that remote meter calibrated much more accurately.
So this is a 6-month total on all these?
Actually, we just started dispensing in July, so it wasn't really a full month. And then, of course, December's not a full month yet, so I kinda just looked at August, September, October, and November, and averaged those out a little bit, and that, I think we'll be within that 1-month contract. We shouldn't go over. If we do, hopefully prices are lower.
What month is your contract in?
It goes through May next year, May 7th of 2025. That's coming up faster than we realize, but yes. So I think we'll be okay. We're probably gonna be, we should be well within that, because actually this started in May and we didn't actually start dispensing fuel until mid-July.
Well, you're gonna be short.
So,
You're
but like I
gonna
said,
be carrying some fuel over.
potentially, we don't have to go the fuel. It just, if it ends that day, we can we'll probably put out an RFP in late to mid-April to start again in May, and hopefully prices will be lower.
But what happens if we haven't used 2,000 gallons?
It's just up to that. We don't have to buy it all. It's just up to 74,000 gallons at that price.
Well, yeah, you don't bid it with the
Actual
roads?
amount could be less.
You don't bid it with the roads department, that's a separate bid?
Currently not, because he has his own tank, and when we order this, we get
You're
a,
not gonna hit 74,000, you're gonna have to pay the difference on the.
no, it's up to that amount. We don't have to purchase that amount.
You don't have to.
Yeah, maximum amount could be less. They're
you can
guaranteeing
buy
it,
less.
they're guaranteeing that price up to that amount.
74,000
So,
gallons.
we don't, with this tank, we can get a full tanker load and fill that tank when we let it get low enough that it'll take 8,500 gallons.
And then what is roads do, what?
He's getting from Wesco, but they normally, a lot of times they'll bring a tandem, and they'll put, unleaded in his one tank, and they'll put diesel in the other for the equipment. So then Steve does a separate RFP for that. So,
Is he getting it cheaper than you are?
at that point, I don't know. I
Is
don't
he
know.
bringing it in tankers on too?
He just brings in, usually they bring in a straight truck, or if they bring in a semi, it'll be a pup with diesel in one, and just from what I've noticed, I couldn't say for sure, but that's just what I've noticed, is a lot of times when they're fueling diesel, they'll have a tag.
Well, the money's all come from the same pot for the gas.
Sure is.
And if there's some way that we can tag on, or he can tag on, or
And I can-
whatever, and if there's some savings, then
I
that's
can check
what-
and see what he's doing. They may not give him the same price because they're not delivering a tanker load
I
at a
see.
time.
He doesn't use near as much, right?
Yeah, he
Not
can
of
only,
Unleaded.
So
He can
it's,
only do half
it's
that.
based on quantity going forward.
So-
All right.
If he can, that's true.
So maybe between yourself, Steve, and Russ, we'll see if that can ever come together as
the only one that
even
wouldn't
a
be
greater
is
quantity.
diesel.
Right.
There's potential. So that's kind of where we are. And I think, like I said, we got the monitor calibrated, and I've got a spill containment emergency sign that should be ready here in the next week. I can put up inside that Connex box that'll next to the spill kit if anybody has a spill, how to mitigate it, and if it's not out of control, to just contact communications. They'll contact Jay or myself, and if not, they need to contact 911 if it's something serious.
Yeah.
So, and
Okay.
other
So
than
this
that,
was a report.
Just report.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I just was gonna comment, I was wondering if Troy or Mark had any concerns with the fueling facility? Okay,
we've
cause
had a
I
few issues with some cards not working, but I
I-
can usually rectify that pretty quickly.
I just reviewed claims for this period, and we had several people fill up in Kimball at $3.55 a gallon. Now does that just doesn't make sense to me.
Not unless you're on E.
So, that's why I didn't know if there was reasons. I know we had a day or two that it was very low, but why would
Those
you fill up?
Transport, jail transport vehicles.
Mostly that's what I saw. Not consistently, but there was several claims at $3.55 a gallon. So it was like, why are we filling up in Kimball 50 miles away when we
If
can
we
get
can
it?
make back. Can you guys check into that?
I will.
Okay,
Were they on their way home?
all right.
Yeah, unless they really like the convenience store.
Yeah.
So this is a report only?
Yeah, just to let
No
you know where
action.
we're at. It's going well. We seem to be getting a few little kinks worked out, but I think in the long run, I think it's gonna pay for itself
Okay.
pretty quickly.
Faster than we thought.
I think so.
Any other questions? If not, we'll move on. Kurt's got the next item as well. So the next item is, to discuss and consider approval of a resolution and signatures to apply for funds available under section 5311 of the Federal Transit Act for 2 new public transit vehicles. Kurt?
Okay, as you know, vehicles age out, they get a little miles on them, they start eating us up. There is currently an an active contract through NDOT for lowered floor minivans and these Ford Transits. The Ford Transit's still a little iffy there because of the lack of engine availability on the spec model, but they're looking at speccing a front wheel or a rear wheel drive single rear wheel model. So this price could actually be a little bit lower. We just don't know at this point. They're still working on that, but the lead time on a minivan once the state order them is about 3 to 4 months. These will most likely actually push into next budget year. Even if they don't, I have 4 buses and a Ford Transit that should be coming in. Based on what I have set aside in my budget, I should be able to handle those 5 vehicles within my budget. And I believe these, if both of these came in before June 1st, I would be $3,980 short. And I can find that money within my budget if they were, but I don't foresee them all coming in by June 30. So this is just to apply. This is actually, they changed the funding a little bit. It's 85% federal funds, 5% state, 10% county. So the prices of these, the minivans now cost more than the cutaway buses used to cost. When I
So,
started, those were.
the intent of these 2 vehicles would be to ultimately replace current vehicles.
Yes, yeah, I've
We're
got.
not really adding more to the
Right.
fleet, right?
I've got one minivan right now sitting at 86,000 miles, and we're phasing out. We have a couple of cutaways we use for our demand response service, One's got 201,000, one's got 190,000, and we are phasing those out off of demand response. Our demand response service will be the lower floor minivans and the Ford Transits only. It'll be easier for people to differentiate as well between the services. They see a cutaway bus going by and, oh, I missed my route bus. Well, that wasn't a route bus. So we're trying to make it easier for our passengers too, to differentiate between the two services. And then, like I said, the buses, the buses I have in order will be route specific. They'll be only on the routes. And the Ford Transit is designed to replace these cutaway buses. They're a little more fuel efficient as well, and a little easier out on the highways in the wind. They're still pretty high profile, but not as bad as those buses. So yeah, these will be to phase out vehicles that have used their what they call the usable life benchmarks: age, mileage, condition.
Well, after January, I'm sure there's gonna be about 93 little post office vans that'll be up for sale.
Could be.
If you're interested.
Lots of electric buses.
I'm still not gonna go to those. They,
I was watching, anyway, turned it on that, which is really sad, the shooting in Wisconsin. And there was a filling station in the back, had a big sign up, $2.36 a gallon. So evidently the prices are.
Must be a long way
Certainly
from
coming down.
refinery, cause it seemed like the further away you get, the cheaper the gas.
Yeah, I even backed it up and looked again to make sure it was correct, yeah.
Huh.
So hopefully stuff will come down a bit.
and so
Any other comments from?
I can read the resolution if you'd like to for the recording.
Rear wheel drive vehicles scare me, especially when it comes to transporting the public. So my only concern, I guess my only request would be make sure you have seasoned drivers.
Yes.
Driving those vehicles. That's
The minivans are all front wheel drive. The cutaway buses are all rear wheel drive, as are the 12 passengers, which we rarely use anymore. Those are mostly used for lunch relief. There is a potential I could get if my first one I ordered ever comes in that is all wheel drive, dual rear wheel. The state, I've talked with Sarasota, the transit director down there. She believes she has one extra one on order. And if it does come in, I've told her I'm gonna get this resolution in. And it will, she said it's earmarked for me if they do get that extra in. The other thing that's new about these figures is, I have worked in the transport fees, so we don't have to take 3 people to Lincoln and drive down, and you get hotel rooms and meals and lodging, and have them delivered to the bus barn. We'll do the paperwork via mail, but it was always an option, it was just never done. In this current order I have to load up 4 people and go to Lincoln and drive buses back because they can't do it after the fact. But now going forward, it's $3 a mile to get them out here. But I did the math, and by the time we pay wages, fuel, lodging, and all that, it's cheaper to transport them out here. So,
And that way they're guaranteed to be in one piece. If they're wrecked, it's their wreck, not ours.
yes, sir.
That's a better idea.
But anyway, that's it'd be total cost of $17,040 out of the transit budget. That is, like I said, that's all within my budget this year. If they were to all come in this fiscal year, I could handle all but 4,000, like about 4,000 that, and I can probably find out out of another.
I would move
line
for
item.
approval of the resolution.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Oh, yeah. Lisa, could you get this one for them too?
Oh,
You have 4 yeses?
Alright, motion's carried. Okay, so the next item is discuss and consider approval of nominating committee of Lex Larson to the Scotts Bluff County Extension Board.
Jackie, I'm sorry, I didn't
Come
know
on
you
up.
were gonna be here. I thought it was just your letter. I didn't want you later.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Questions for me? Did you get my letter?
So, yeah, you just simply need, approval from us for
Don't worry about it.
Lex Larson and,
Becky Ulrich, correct.
right, both of them. And we have them as two separate items, so we'll
Right.
vote on them separately.
Okay.
Any questions from anyone from the board? How about a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept approval for Lex Larson.
Okay,
I'll second.
alright, so we have a motion, to approve the nominating committee's selection of Lex Larson to the extension board. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses?
Alright, motion's carried. Go to the next item, Jackie, concerning, Becky Ulrich,
Correct.
same
make-
thing?
Same thing. She represents the 4-H council on our extension board.
I'll make a motion to approve Becky Ulrich to serve as president to the 4-H council.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the nominating committee recommendation of Becky Ulrich to serve as president to the 4-H council
And to the Scotts Bluff
and
County
the board both, yeah. Okay? Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses?
Okay, motion's carried. Thanks, Jackie.
I think we've already done this item. Is that gonna be voted on to next meeting?
Let's see here. So review and discuss commissioner appointments for committees and agencies and the liaison position for the reorganizational meeting to be held on January 21st.
That's the one I
2025.
asked you to take off of there.
Yeah, that we've already done this.
It's just, the
And-
wording of this is much better than your 3:30 meeting.
So we did have a work session, and we did go through these items. There's very little change to them, and, there's no action planned for tonight. The action will be January,
Tuesday the 21st.
Tuesday, the 21st. That's our second meeting of the month. So,
I did put your detention center tour on the first one, since you're reorganizing on the second meeting.
okay. That's fine. You heard that, Sheriff? Okay. Okay, so that gets us through the general items. We'll go to old business, time clock plus and payroll processes.
I had a second meeting this last week. We'll be arranging a third meeting to get all the information to flow into the MIP system.
Okay.
It's a process.
But you're still working on
I am working on it.
it, okay? Any other comments or questions about that? Alright, we'll go on to the next item. The next item is public comments. The Board of Commissioners will receive public comments on items discussed at this meeting or suggestions for items of discussion at a future board meeting. The board will not take action on comments presented, at this date. Is there anyone here from the public tonight that would like to comment on anything? Looks like all staff people almost, but, alright. Hearing none, we'll go on to board and staff reports, with discussion. So why don't we start, Lisa, over here on this side with you, and then we'll go on around the room.
I just wanted to call your attention to the fact I did advertise the layperson for the personnel board. Gave you a copy of that. It went into the paper Saturday and it goes in the last Saturday of the month. Now, it might not be seen, so if you have somebody that you wanna present this to, please let them know to reach out to me or reach out to Kelly and show their interest, and then you'll be deciding, I think it was January 6th. Okay?
I think there was a copy in our packet,
Yes.
so, of the advertisement.
Okay, that's all I can
Alright,
think of.
anything else, Lisa?
Nope.
Bill?
Well, you're right. I will, this is my next to last meeting, January January sixth I'll be here because we're gonna have the wind energy regulations to discuss, and I've been involved in getting that done. And it's my privilege to introduce Jason Ocean to you, who will be here on the 21st of January to take over, going forward. The nice thing about Jason is he's a smart lawyer. He has a different personality than I do.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to, as compared to me, I'm just a regular lawyer. He's got a lot of government experience, we've been representing the college, for 47 years, and I'm the third attorney representing the college. Jason and I have been doing it together for the last 12 years. He handles parts of it, I handle parts of it, and, that'll be passing on to Jason and to Jerry Ostick. He has government law experience. He just came from negotiating the, negotiations for the faculty contract for the college. So you'll be in a good position having Jason here at your meetings starting on the 21st of January. And, I'll visit with him about some things coming up to make sure he's up to speed on things. And he's in the same position I am. When you have questions, call him. I'll make sure that he gets together with Bill and Steve. But, we like to know before meetings if there's something unusual coming up so we can be ready for it. And, we're just looking forward to continuing to provide good representation to the county. So, thank you.
Jason, yeah, anything you wanna say, Jason?
No, just appreciate the opportunity. I think as Phil mentioned, we've had a good working relationship, working with boards in the past to try to make the transition as seamless as we can. And I think the other thing is always the more we know prior to a meeting, the more that we can bring to the meeting. So, we just appreciate the opportunity to keep working.
Thanks. Sheriff, do you have anything?
I don't have anything.
All right, John? Kurt?
I visited with you last meeting about the transit development plan. I forwarded you all those documents, the guidelines and all that. I did have about an hour and a half meeting with representatives from Olson today. They're gonna do a lot of the legwork on this and a lot of the organization, but we have to go through the goals for the next 5 years. Again, it's a working document. It's every 2 years we have to update it and, see where we're at with our goals and our plans and slide them one way or the other, kinda like the roads 1 and 6 year plans, very similar to that. It's, it's a crystal ball, but I say it's a crystal ball with cataracts. You really can't see very far, very well, not knowing with change in administration and all that. But again, if you have any ideas, and things you'd like to see, obviously we've gotta find the funding to do it, but that's kinda where I'm looking at is it's a goal based on what we can afford to do. It can always be adjusted up or down one way or the other, but if you have an idea or a concept for transit, looking at some potential expansion with apartments, complexes going into gearing, and if we get a casino and things of that nature that could affect our abilities and maybe further provide, show further need for additional services. Just kinda what I said, we're just trying to plan ahead and get in front of it a little bit, going forward. So again, any ideas, shoot those at me. Olson hopes to have a draft to me within a couple weeks. We do have to have this approved and signed off by you in March, and then along with that, we'll follow our 2-year operating agreement with the state, which will kinda line up with the first 2 years of that plan, as far as budgets. So, appreciate any input.
Thanks. Heather? Tyler? Becky? Kelly?
Not that I could think of.
Charlie?
So we had our tourism meeting last week on Wednesday, and we brought to you guys the, recommendation from the interview committee. We do start in January, moving to our quarterly meetings instead of monthly meetings. So that first meeting Thursday last week, which was, where we had a presentation early at the beginning of the meeting, and, several members of the public were there, several people from other agencies who aren't necessarily TCD members, regarding this Placer AI, software that we're looking at purchasing for tourism, and hopefully gaining some other, investors in the idea, so we can cost share. And I think generally it was well received, and, so the cost sharing there would, I think we have 4 or 5 other entities hopeful to join us there, which is encouraging, and, I think I would like to, take another run at, taxing these skill games. I don't think Phil was here when we talked about this last year, but the state legislature declined to move that bill forward, which was a major reason why we decided not to tax the skill games. Basically, what the legislative bill last go around was basically gonna tax them out of existence. And so we decided not to add any additional tax to that because it would have been pointless. But we do have the ability to tax skill games, and, I think we need to take another look at that, so that's one thing I think we should do here, before we get into the busyness of what we do in July and June and all that kind of stuff, so in the next few months.
I got a question on that. Are you saying we have the authority to do that now?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
from the documentation.
So, the other thing is the new county website, as you know, has been live now for 2 weeks. We need to be really careful with our edits on there. I was online 2 Saturdays ago, and some edits, this is kind of like a good and a bad, you know, we have the ability to make the updates to the website as we need. We don't need to submit work tickets to Bytes or to Lips to do these changes. But sometimes, department heads are making formatting changes to the website, and it's causing some issues with text wrap and, page layout. So we'll just wanna be aware that, when we make those changes, I think there's we have the ability to kind of look at a pre-published page before we submit finally the changes to the website, so I think. What's that?
They should be pre-published, like when you updated your bio, I approved it.
So, the next thing I was gonna say was that we need to check both the mobile site and the desktop site for those pre-published changes.
On the homepage, it's really easy to, because when I added the detention center button, it's really easy to wipe out the video.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be careful that when you change stuff, you're not taking out graphics that are in there also. But, let me know, but anytime you edit a page, like Lisa edited a page this week, either Jean or I get a notification,
Okay.
and you have to approve it.
Always, cause, these text wrapping and formatting issues that I caught on 2 Saturdays ago, I ended up spending about 3 hours with the MIP staff on that Saturday and the following Tuesday, to kinda get it all cleared up. There was some changes with font size and font styles that changed these wrap issues, so just some things to keep in mind when we're doing that. We've got a beautiful website. It would be a shame if all of a sudden we logged on and welcome was spelled out, one letter at a time,
Anything else, Charlie?
That's all.
Ken?
I don't have anything, I don't have any meetings, so
I would only report, I got Heartland Express this week, Expressway, and so I'll be going to that.
When is that?
It's the 19th, I think, so that's Thursday, I think.
You'll be gone. Russ.
Russ will be gone.
I'll be gone, yeah.
Russ, you have anything?
Yeah, I do. County Road M Bridge is open, completed, and it's really a nice job. If any of you get a chance, go look at that with all the,
Minutair.
yeah, they really did a nice. Pardon?
He's supposed to bring his drone footage.
Steve's gonna bring us a picture of drone video of the whole thing, and it really come out nice. It was a good job. Bridge inspections are complete. Had to close one bridge, County Road 2 and County Road J. It's a 3-span timber bridge. A hydraulic study is currently being done to see if similar structures can be reused. Another bridge, County Road 9 and County Road D, is also needs replaced as soon as possible. They just got it, it's still travelable, but it's sunk about that far, and they're still letting traffic over it, and they're bouncing over it, but, we're having a culvert built for it out of Kearney, and so it's, hopefully it'll be here last of January, 1st February, so that'll be replaced. It's already been ordered. It was kind of an emergency deal. It's a 44-foot long culvert, 120-inch diameter.
And where's that again?
It's basically right south of Morrill on County Road 9. It's, city of Morrill has to go down in there to get to the lagoon system, and there's one family that lives down in there, and that's the only road in and out of it. Okay, the cost of the culvert is $48,600 on that material, and then RC Crane will install it. NDOT announced on the 24th county bridge match selections last Friday. There were 46 proposals submitted. 11 proposals were selected. Both of Scotts Bluff County's proposals were chosen. We put in 2 and got them both. First proposal selected is west of County Road, County Fairgrounds. On County Road E, there's a bridge just half a mile west of the County Fairgrounds on that dirt road, and that's really a bad bridge, and that one's gonna get replaced. Second proposal is a deck rehab on County Road 35 and County Road G. That would be removing the timber deck and putting down a concrete slab deck. Let's see. Steve said, I'm excited that we've had 2 chosen out of 11 selections for just our county, so that was a big deal for us. Let's see here. Let's see, I can give you more detail on these bridge projects once DOT sends out the contracts to be approved by the board, so. Steve says Merry Christmas, guys.
Very good. Anything else, Russ?
That's it.
The next item is legislation. Charlie, you got anything on that, or anyone else as far as that goes? I know we're coming up quickly to the January time frame when things will start to happen quickly. You'll still be on top of that through NACO at least, okay? And, if anyone else has updates for us as we go, keep us posted. I do wanna mention, cause I know several of you will be leaving, but again, this is our last meeting for this year, and, our next meeting is January 6th, is our regular meeting, and so I just wanna mention that.
I thought you were gonna say Merry Christmas.
And, yeah, Merry Christmas to everyone, cause we won't have a meeting again till then. So, we do have an executive session item for the purpose of a personnel issue. And with that, I would move pursuant to section 84-1410 of the reissue of the revised statutes known as the Nebraska Public Meetings Law, that the board hold a, closed session with Phil Kelly, Jason Ocean, and Lisa Ryan and the board for the purpose of discussion, potential litigation. I further move that this closed session is clearly necessary.
It's a personnel issue, excuse me, Mark.
Personnel issue would be better to say.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And,
include Troy Brown.
and Troy Brown needs to be included in that as well. And I further move that this closed session is clearly necessary for the protection of the public interest and that executive session for pending litigation matters and pending personnel matters is clearly authorized by the Nebraska Public Meetings Law. You better give me another script.
Could you get one for all of us?
Yeah, then I don't have to always do it.
Yes, we'll have two versions.
Yeah.
One for personnel and one for litigation.
So that's my motion.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second.
Where are we going? Sheriff office?
Let's go to
Oh.
Lisa's office.
Okay, that's fine.
Lisa's? Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses.
All right, motion's carried.
You always have to state the reason again, now that the motion's carried, on executive session for personnel matters.
Executive session for personnel matter. And someone suggested it might be short, so,
I did,
It wasn't
we'll
me.
see.
Just a
what
suggestion
happens.
though.
Yeah.
I have lunch, dinner plans, let's make it real short.
We'll have to hurry faster, but you don't want to miss that, cause you're gonna be gone for. Ooh, how are you?
All right, Charlie, we're gonna want you to speak into your mic when you say you're here. So we're back in regular session. Clerk will call the roll.
Harris,
Here.
Knapper.
Here.
Meyer,
Here.
Reisig,
Here.
And you have the time at 6:24. Any other, discussion?
I would like to remind you of what time you went in.
6:15. Yep. I didn't say it, but I seen it.
No, I'm so busy running out of here.
6:15. All right. Is there anything else for the good of the evening?
we're out of agenda items.
Yeah. So, no more agenda items, no more things to talk about. Meeting's adjourned.
Kenny, would you bring us a little chocolate ice cream the next meeting? Would you bring us